And the result was, you know what, we realized that until the day the tricolor is raised in Derry and Kerry, our work is not complete. The funds that we raise for the United Ireland and for Christmas Appeal are just as important today as they were in the dark days of the 70s and 80s, because our work is not completed. So what we did was we said we need to get out there, we need to re-inspire the people and continue our Christmas Appeal. So what we did was say these are the organizations that we want to support with our funds. What I've been trying to do in the digest for the last few years is try to highlight the work of a lot of these, and that's what we'll do now for the next few minutes. But basically the organizations that we want to help are the longtime Republican groups, former Republican prisoner groups in the North, and community support of northern towns. We also want to support attempts by Republican prisoners that are stuck in this country to try to fix their immigration status. We also have become very involved with the Irish-speaking schools in the North, and we do special projects. One being the Bogside Artists, which I know the people in Maryland are very involved with, and also groups like West Belfast Suicide Prevention. Suicide, of course, unfortunately, is a tremendous problem in the North. In the post-conflict years, they said that if the North of Ireland was a country in and by itself, it would be one of the largest countries in the world that would have suicide problems. So we try to give funds to that to see if we could help the communities prevent this terrible scourge. We also, on the last three, support where I think we get the most value for our money. They're cross-community opportunities, reconciliation efforts, and the truth and justice initiatives. Now, we just don't give your money away, okay? We just don't say, hey, there's a guy in Derry I know, let's give him a couple hundred. We keep on file an application for all the groups that we give monies to make sure, A, that they need, and B, to make sure that their goals are aligned with ours. The groups that we started supporting back in the 60s and 70s were these long-term Republican groups. Groups like Belfast National Graves, Anceint, and Green Cross. And what they actually did was they helped the families of those that were interred. Many people in the North in the 60s and 70s and the 80s were picked up and interred with no judge, no jury. Those families were then left to, fend for their own. These groups used to help those. Now, as the graying of these Republicans happens, there's still a need to help some of those people. It's a smaller, much smaller percentage of what we give, but we do give in honor for all those who fought for Irish freedom for so many years. And the people that work on these groups, if you know a lot of the people in the North, they're some of the most famous names in Irish Republicanism. People like Liam Shannon, who's also the manager of the Felons Club in West Belfast. Big McFarlane. Big was the OC in Long Kesh during the hunger strike. Bobby Story, who was another famous Republican, was involved with the Great Escape, and Seamus Kelly, who was a blanket man in Long Kesh. Republican prisoners. The Brits did a great job in trying to criminalize what these people did. So of course, by criminalizing people who were fighting for their freedom, they called them prisoners. And I tell you, they weren't prisoners. They were freedom fighters. They were political prisoners. Many people know the famous political prisoners. The stained glass there is the 10 Brave Men of 1981. The woman you see up there to the left is the widow of Joe Cahill, who was an iconic Republican figure. But the ground soldier, the ground Republican, was just a regular person who fought for their country. People like we would have been. We may not have been great known names, but they did a lot of great work, and they were in prison so many times unjustly. But what's very interesting, and I think jumps out at you, is when you see these prisoners who fought in the streets of Strabane, in the streets of Derry, in Belfast, in Armagh. Do you know where they are today? They're back in the streets of Strabane, Derry, Armagh, and Belfast, putting their community together. It shows the sincerity of the struggle that they were involved in. These people now go back in, and what we try to do is